proud to be from the VI, a place of history like the African side, yeah. St. Thomas and St. John and St. Croix, nothing can come between us but the waters that divide, yeah. Even though we're just a few square mile, I travel around the world with Virgin Island pride, yeah. A lot of people still going through strife, and still we live a joyful life. That's why the place nice, so nice, so nice. Sweet, sweet St. Thomas nice, so nice, so nice. St. Croix full of pure vibes, so nice, so nice. St. John a real paradise, so nice, so nice. We got so much to lose, yet so much to prove. Hey. Virgin Island teachers never raise no fool. Mama send me school. Hey. When it's difficult, we still a push through. No matter what, the blessings of will continue. We are a people of great value. That's why we stick together like tamarind stew. Hey. Remember Queen Mary, we make the fire burn, and Edward Blyden with the Africa vision. Remember St. John with the slave rebellion. General Butler say emancipation. That's why the place nice, so nice. Sweet, sweet St. Thomas nice, so nice, so nice. St. Croix full of pure vibes, so nice, so nice. St. John a real paradise, so nice, so nice. Hey, we got so much to prove, yet so much to lose. Hey, Virgin Island teachers never raise no fool. Mama sent me school. Yeah. St. Croix produced the band Midnight, and them the kind of roots make the fire ignite, yo. Julian Jackson was a champion in the ring, and now him three son them a do the same thing, yeah. Tim Duncan come from the VI, one of the greatest, and the world can see why, yeah. If you ever ask me where I'm from, born in the Virgin Island, and the whole place nice, so nice, so nice. Sweet, sweet St. Thomas nice, so nice, so nice.
It's First Stop 24-hour gas and grocery store. Your number one convenience store, located across from Vitraco Park. You name it, and they have it. From electronic accessories to your favorite drinks. And from gas to groceries. You name it, and they have it. First Stop 24-hour gas and grocery, located across from Vitraco Park. Check it out. Your favorite store for gas and grocery. Good morning. I just want to say good morning to everyone out there. You know, I guess we're dealing with this pandemic just like any other place, and it's really unfortunate. But let me say Happy New Year to everyone first and foremost. And I know each and every one of you have your New Year's resolution or resolutions. And I just want to start out this morning just offering some condolences to some of the families of person who recently passed. And one of the most disturbing news, of course, and unfortunate experience is the lady Gregoriana that was just visiting a store in Haven site where she fell victim. Unfortunate experience, and we understand that she recently passed. And we wanted to extend condolences to her family and friends. And of course, Anne Francis Peters and Gertrude Alberta Fredericks. Condolences to all the families. And the number of COVID cases here in the Virgin Islands have elevated to 2,150 cases. Of course, that was the last count that we received. I believe it was yesterday. But that is kind of disturbing to hear that there's so many cases and how they're rising so fast here in the U.S. Virgin Islands. And we can only hope that with the number of folks that are actually getting vaccinated and the boosters, it's that it's in fact working and it's diminishing or reducing the impact that the COVID virus would normally have on the body. So we continue to encourage some people to, consider getting the booster vaccination. But of course, I've always believed that persons have a choice in doing so and proceed at their own accord. We last week I believe we had a discussion right here on the radio, and I received some calls over the weekend about that same topic that we had discussed all the way back on Monday, that have to do with preferential treatment or preference in civil actions for the elderly and terminally ill. And a couple of persons expressed some concerns with that particular law and felt that it was worth having or extending that discussion again. But this morning, what we opted to do was to have an open discussion this morning, allowing for folks to call in and broach whatever subject they want to broach or address whatever issues they want to address in particular. And we're going to stick to that particular open discussion. And some of the questions that I would like to pose out there for many of you is, what about health care? What about road repairs? What about schools? What about hospitals? What about social venues? What about the environment? What about the mentally ill and homelessness? What are your thoughts? And the reason I brought up some of those issues is because it seemed that during certain or special seasons, we would talk about the mentally ill, talk about the homeless, we would talk about hospitals, we would talk about education, infrastructure, we talk about social facilities, and the list goes on and on and on. And I thought that it was really important that, we start to address certain issues and give people an opportunity to chime in and provide your comments, your concerns, your ideas on a myriad of different issues and topics affecting the U.S. Virgin Islands. So good morning to you again, every one of you out there that is listening. I thank all those listeners that listen to me religiously every Monday morning as we try to address issues. And notice I say we, as we try to address a lot of the issues, vexing issues that affect the people of the Virgin Islands. And I think many of you have your own little unique concerns about some of the issues that are affecting us. So the number of COVID cases now, folks, and this is where I keep, and I will always reiterate, practice certain precautionary measures and don't ease up. I'm talking about washing your hands often, sanitizing often, wearing a mask as often as you possibly can, and of course, maintaining that social distancing, because I know we are a hospitable people as Virgin Islanders. We like to hug, we like to shake hands often, but the most common thing for us now is the bump, the fist bump, because a lot of people now are becoming so conscious they want to shake your hand. So you see them approaching, they either putting out the elbow or they putting out the fist to bump your hand. Why? Because they're taking this thing serious, and which should be the case, that we should be taking this stuff serious, because this COVID and all these variants that are surfacing now don't seem to be going anywhere anytime soon. But anyway, let me see if I can go in on telephone calls right away. Good morning, you're on the air. Connect the dots.
Good morning, and a Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you as well.
My name is Barbara, and I do have some questions for the situation going on where our judges are being retired. They're not coming back, or anyway, we're interested in finding out what's happening with the cases for
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Wondering
We
what's
can hear
happening
you.
with the cases that are left behind,
Yeah.
the judges
Well,
for the terminally ill, the elderly.
well, I
Where's
anticipate.
her?
Yeah, we suspect that it's going to be a backlog, because if there was already a backlog, there's going to be that backlog is going to be compounded with more cases. Now, I think the discussion that we had was relative to the law that was passed, which is Bill number 34-0076. It was Act number 8468, which I will read the caption. It says, an act amending Title 5 Virgin Islands Code, Subtitle 1, Part 1, Chapter 3, to grant seniors and the terminally ill preference in civil actions. And I believe that most of those cases or motions that are filed are being maybe forwarded to the Supreme Court. I have the world of respect for Judge Reese Hodge, and I'm hopeful that maybe the legislature of the Virgin Islands and Judge Reese Hodge reach some kind of medium to see how they're going to address this particular issue, because there's so many cases pending, and I'm wondering if it's just something that is going to sit there to languish. What is going to happen? Are those motions going to be entertained? What is going to happen? I haven't received any response from anyone from the court system that would share their perspectives with me, but I understand that there was an opinion placed on record. So at the end of the day, it's a lot of residents of the Virgin Islands, citizens who fall within that category, that will have cases pending and their cases would not be heard.
Right. Yeah. And there's lots of cases such as mine sitting that were asked for the judge, to file her within our 60 days of the statute, and we've never heard anything. Aren't they supposed to address the law with that in a timely manner?
Yeah.
Is it just because of the backlogging?
Well, the question is, and I guess what I would ask is, in this instance here, you have a legislation that was fully executed. And when I say fully executed, the governor signed off on it as well. And he would have to determine whether or not there would be an intervention. And he signed off on that August 16th of 2021. Now, the reason I bring that up is because will the Department of Justice get involved as it relates to law not being fully executed? Will the legislature of the Virgin Islands seek for the court system to adhere to the law, them being the first branch of government? I'm not sure how that is going to evolve and how it's going to pan out.
Well, that would be wonderful if you could find that out, because it sounds like lots of questions with no answers, and there are, like we were saying, the terminally ill and the elderly who's been waiting, they don't have many years left, so it's hard to understand how that just gets brushed under. I'm hoping that something can be rectified with this.
Well,
and I'm sure you do too.
Yeah, of course. I know a number of people, elderly people that live in the Anna's Retreat area, to be specific, persons that I have interacted with and know that they have grave concerns. And in fact, I believe after they heard that law was passed, they had their attorneys to file motions requesting that the court fast track or provide preference for those elderly people. And a couple of instances, you have a few of them that are terminally ill and would like to see their cases resolved. So we can only chime in or ask the court to at least provide some kind of direction or response to these backlog of cases that are not being heard. And in the meantime, people are frustrated.
Yes, very. I too am a survivor so far of cancer, and I had a double mastectomy.
Oh wow!
And husband, And unfortunately, we didn't have a will, so we're caught up in the probate system. But we were just looking to see, how the courts are going to make this come to fruition to help everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the question.
Everyone has their hands full.
Yeah, the question I guess I would ask at this point also, an additional question, is how the court would have prepared to handle a rush in all these cases, whether or not they had the appropriate personnel, administrators, to really handle the scheduling of all these cases, because now that is going to be a significant amount of cases that have to be heard. But most definitely the legislature, in their wisdom, that August body, decided to pass legislation to address a particular issue that a lot of citizens of the Virgin Islands, residents who find themselves within that category, that they would like to see their cases facilitated, that they could resolve these issues before it become more complex, where they pass, properties end up into probate, or there's some engulfed in confusion and they can't get these issues resolved.
Correct. Yeah, it's mind-boggling.
Yeah, but thank you for calling and providing your particular situation, because I think people need to hear from those who are personally affected, because you are, in fact, you should be part of that, the discussion and even a decision-making process, because I'm quite sure that persons like yourself may have even maybe signed a petition, circulated a petition to the legislature of the Virgin Islands requesting that they address this particular issue. And I think that's what, the legislature is supposed to do, provided that it falls within a certain, realm, that it's not in contradiction with the Constitution or federal laws. And I don't think in this instance here that's the case. But let's see what the courts do. I'm sure that they're hearing about this issue repeatedly. And there's a number of cases that, as I have learned, have been filed with the courts and, amending their particular claim and requesting for, to get preference.
And the court ignored the statute on answering back to the lawyer and their clients. It's a shame.
Yeah.
I mean, usually when it's probate, it's mostly elderly people. Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks.
Well, is there anyone we could call later on to find out?
Yes, I think you could call the legislature, and you could call maybe even the court, the Supreme Court, and see if you can get a response out to them. But they generally don't entertain calls like that. But I'm sure that if you call the legislature, it started with the legislature, so you have to go back to the legislature and ask them if they can give you, some kind of idea when this is going to be in full effect.
Well, God bless everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you for speaking with me.
Thank you. Thank you for calling.
Okay. And have a beautiful day.
You as well. Bye-bye. Yeah, there's a number of cases, and you're going to hear persons talking about these issues. Good morning. You're on the air. Connect the dots.
Good morning. Good morning. Happy New Year to you.
Same to you. Same to you and yours.
And the family.
Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a few things I would like to touch and piggyback off the lady that was just on the radio station.
Yeah.
I mean, I can feel how she feels. I mean, I could only imagine how she feels, I should say.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of elderly people in my neighborhood that are going through that same issue.
Yeah.
And one question to you, Senator Donnerstall.
Sure.
Do you think the law should be ignored? Do you think the judges should ignore the law? I mean, we have a lot of seniors right now is not going to be able to even make it. They're hanging on. I would like to see stuff done. And, and we just having people just laying back and like not doing anything. I mean, I would rally with them, the elders. I'm not an elder, but I will rally with them.
Yeah. Well, I definitely...
Should they ignore law? That's my thing. Should they ignore law? Should the judge be above the law to ignore it?
They should not be above the law to ignore the law. But it would be up to the legislature now to determine what would be the next course of action. Because remember, I feel that someone in leadership should have called in the stakeholders and tried to resolve this issue before it get to an impasse where there's a standoff. And it appears that there's a standoff, and it doesn't serve in the best interests of those who are affected. So I fully agree with what you're saying. And this issue needs to be addressed. And I don't think that many people are taking it serious. And it's a very, very serious issue.
Yeah, they're not taking it serious. I have seniors that I know that have assets that is tied up, that cannot get nothing done, and they would like to get it done before they pass. And they're basically almost dying bed. And the court system has it like it's a joke. And until it's their turn, then they're going to realize how serious this issue is. Our legislature is supposed to step in and do something about it.
Yeah. Well, listen, like I said, I fully agree with you, and I'm just hoping sometimes they say what starts bad ends bad, and there was obviously an opinion that the court provided when it came to the legislation, but I thought that they had gotten beyond that. And the legislature is a deliberative body. That august body reserves the right to pass laws, and unless it's not constitutionally sound, the law prevails. So I'm waiting to hear the arguments that it's usurping the authority of the third branch of government, which is, the judiciary. So at least we could sit down and determine what would be the next course of action to deal with this issue. But in the meantime, you have persons that thought that this legislation was a saving grace, and they're out there waiting to see how the court system is going to address this particular issue because they want their civil actions to be resolved before anything happens to them. And that's rightfully so, and you can only be sympathetic towards that.
It's very sad to, it's very, very sad to know that nothing is being done. I mean, they're taking it sweet old time. The judge has left the bench like nothing, like it's never tomorrow. I mean, it's sad.
Yeah.
We need to get something done. We need to get it done. Like yesterday, not tomorrow, yesterday.
When you say the judge when you say the judge left the bench, you mean I think 2 judges retired, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Exactly.
Oh,
exactly.
Okay. Well,
I mean, and they could have gotten it done before they left. Why leave that on the table? Why?
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of elders out there that are desperate right now in need for something to be done. Yes, last week. Like the lady just was on this radio station telling you all the issues that she went through. And I hear you said, wow, sorry to hear that. For me, it's wow, sorry to hear that too.
Yeah.
But sorry, can't help it. Let's get something done for them.
Yeah. Well, I know that judges do not participate in any public forums, and very rarely they would participate or submit themselves to any interviews. So don't anticipate that any judge would avail themselves to participate in any discussion via radio or any other medium, or public medium on this matter.
Okay.
Okay. But, it's
thank you so much, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, no problem.
Yeah, there's a lot of folks concerned about this particular issue, and I don't want to ignore some of the other people even posing questions via Facebook, like Kat Ham. This issue, she spoke, asked the issue of the public cemeteries and the upkeep of those cemeteries. I know that the Department of Public Works is the responsible party for the upkeep of the cemeteries. And I know in one instance, as it relates to the East End Cemetery, there must have been, or there exists an issue where they're encroaching on additional property and just cutting their way onto private property owners, past the boundaries of those private property owners. And I think that we have to be careful with that, that government should not become abusive and displacing landowners in that way. There's a process to be followed, and hopefully that issue would be remedied and addressed post haste. So in terms of the upkeep of the cemeteries, they're right. You know, your loved ones being buried in those cemeteries, when you walk in the cemetery, you want to see that it's well maintained, that it looks nice, that you could even find your grave site of a family member. And that's some of the concerns that folks have. So I just wanted to just bring that one little issue up that someone brought up via Facebook. But this issue rolling back, and of course this is open discussion this morning, so anyone is welcome to call and pose whatever question you want to pose relative to something that we discussed in the past or something we're discussing currently. But we are open and receptive to anything that you want to bring up, any subject that you want to broach. And this number of COVID cases, but I guess the bright side of it is I understand that the hospitalizations are down, but good morning, you're on the air, connect the dots.
Yes, good morning, Senator Fonzie. This is Kat Ham from California calling.
Yes, there. Go right ahead.
Sorry about this. Okay, my question really relates to this. In 2021, I made 5 trips to St. Thomas, my homeland, to find my father and my grandfather's graves. Yeah. And then that Rastafarian down there, he didn't just take his proper time to find near one of them man's graves for me. So that's what my problem is. Because again, apparently, down in the cemetery, down there by when Astronaut, Cancrine area, them graveyards have it's like they over putting bodies and what have you and removing bodies. It looks like to me. I'm coming home in 2022 and I'm asking you right now, St. Thomas people, I need to find my father's grave and my grandfather's grave. Because it hurts me to know that those grave sites down there, those burial plots, are not being taken care of properly. Yeah. I understand it actually going on to private property, but no, anybody that's being buried on our land, those need to be marked properly.
Yeah.
Yes, my father was gone since 1994, but still, I need to be able to find it and be able to identify, yes, that's your father's grave.
Yeah, I know the Department of Public Works. Yeah, I know the Department of Public Works is responsible for the maintenance of those of the graveyards, the cemeteries, and I'm sure that the appropriate parties are listening to the program this morning, and maybe they might opt to try to assist you, because I think it's the honorable and it's the right thing to do in providing someone, whether there's maps in the Department of Public Works that provides them with some kind of direction that they could assist you in finding the grave sites. But I know in some instances... Go ahead.
Not to cut you short, Senator. I mean, that person who actually was supposed to be there to help me, he took like 2 friggin' minutes, and then he disappeared on me. I'm like, look, man, I need to find my father's grave. I'm coming from so far. From the west coast of the United States is where I'm coming from, to my homeland.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm an educator, and again, the other thing is that I noticed, and I'm just trying to find out, when are they going to finish fixing when I snow? Can't cry. When are they going to finish fixing the Hurricane Maria, oh man, all of that, destroy that, but come on now. Them students need somewhere to be educated.
Yeah.
I am proud of where I'm from. You hear me well, Senator? I actually moved over here to California back in 1979. I will never consider California my home because this is not my home. This is my residence. My home is Wheatland, St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands. That's why my backside was born. If you understand what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'm a 56-year-old woman, and I keep on traveling. I'm like, look, come on, people, help me fight. Them two men very right close to each other, but nobody back home can actually help me.
Well,
Thank you for listening to me.
Yeah, and I'm hopeful, and I pray that someone down there is listening and they try to assist you.
Because again, I'm coming home the week of April 22nd, which will be my 57th birthday. That's when I'm coming home.
Yeah.
I'll be back home then. I don't know how many people when they're coming home, but I'm coming home then because that's when I need to be back home. Before anything else happens to me, because I'm not a well person.
Yeah.
Thank you again for listening.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for calling.
Love your show. Love your show. Thank you. Bye now.
Bye-bye. Yeah, people get frustrated. You see, I've always felt as a public official, you have to be sensitive to each person's unique situation. And yes, as public officials, sometimes you're bombarded with so many different complaints and so many different issues that you get perhaps strained to the point where you could potentially lose sensitivity towards people isolated situation. Because understand, and this is something that I always kept in mind, that when a person come to you with their complaint, they care about all the other stuff that is taking place and all the other stuff that you have to deal with. What they're concerned about is their isolated situation. And if you can't understand that as a public official, then you're failing yourself. If you don't understand that, it's being able to identify and understand a person's plight and address their issue, because their issue is unique, their issue is dear to them, their issue is of significance to them, and the issue may potentially be affecting them in the most adverse way. So address it. So I understand that lady wanting to find exactly where her father's gravesite is and be able to come and visit him. And I know that she brought up an issue about Adelita Cancrin. I'm not sure Adelita Cancrin is going to be a school again, because I understand that the governor and the executive director of the Port Authority have made a move to lease that property to maybe Tropical Shipping to expand the transshipment port. I don't know how true that is. And hopefully maybe the appropriate parties may come forward and provide the public with the plans, and don't have people holding on and waiting, assuming things would get back to some normalcy, meaning that that respective site would be used as a school. I don't think that is going to be used as a school again. So I just didn't want to leave that one slip by, because I know folks had been discussing or asking questions about that particular thing for quite some time. And I even with social events, and I mentioned about social events being incorporated because they're part of your infrastructure. Cricket is perhaps one of the biggest spectator sports in the Virgin Islands, and cricket was only played, and I'm talking about competitive cricket, was only played down on the Adelita Cancrin ball field. That ball field was used for something else, a staging area, and and of course a dump site for all types of different material, whether it was metal, whether it's vegetation, to be eventually moved on, chipped and moved on elsewhere. But the question that I have to ask is any accommodations being made for the social aspect of our infrastructure, meaning social venues here in the U.S. Virgin Islands? And then I'm compelled to even incorporate horse racing, because these things, there's nothing wrong with building our hospitals or rebuilding hospitals. There's nothing wrong with building out schools. But I feel that with the number of resources or the level of resources that we have in the U.S. Virgin Islands, that we should be able to do things simultaneously. Have activity or construction going on in multiple places. We have the ability to do that. It all starts with leadership. Because see, if we fail to address all these issues, you're affecting the quality of life. What is there for people to do in the Virgin Islands? I mean, like, really, serious. The only thing that I think that they can do now is probably go Coral Wall to swim with the sea lions and the dolphins, and just see, you're through with that tour in about 30 minutes. What else is there to do? We better start looking for things for people to do and start incorporating them into our infrastructure. To this day, it hurts me every time I think about it, because I went over there to see myself and I provided the public with a bird's eye view for them to understand just how beautiful of a racing facility that we have, because it's adjacent to the lagoon, the sea that is right there. Unique. You see ponds in the middle of a track or the inner part of a track, horse racing facilities, but you don't see the sea around it. That's unique in itself. But are we going to develop the strategic plan to really resurrect it? Because that's part of our history. And I've said this multiple times, but it's going to be done. I assure you it's going to be done. So I know they're listening to my voice, and I'm not talking about just cleaning a little bit of vegetation and make it appear that there's a little movement for those who frequent the area. I'm talking about, we want to see something significant. I'm prepared to use that $4.1 million. I would encourage them to use that $4.1 million that was set aside or that was provided by FEMA for mitigation of flooding and other things. Because see, even with the racetrack, the horse racing facility, that could alleviate the problem if they address the mitigation issue with the flooding, address the problem from the entire neighborhood. Sanchez Town, nada from flooding. How many years have those residents in that area had to deal with that? And they continue to have to deal with it. And we're sitting on $4.1 million for mitigation that could make sure that there's an outflow. I'm not sure what's going on, but we could only hope that things change, and they change rapidly, because Virgin Islanders are becoming frustrated with the lack of movement, with the distribution of the resources. And when I say the distribution of resources, everyone wants to see that the distribution of the resources, that's fair distribution, that a large amount of Virgin Islanders are able to eat. And I'm talking about those Virgin Islanders that sit, that they're on the side, they want work. Contractors, a lot of young contractors that we have now that are looking for work. But it's a select few group of people that is isolating all the resources in pockets, and it's not being distributed fairly. So we hope that that can transpire, that can happen. It'll happen in the very near future. Let me go to another telephone call. Good morning, you're on the air. Connect the dots.
Yes, Francis Rivo. Good morning,
Hey, Rigo.
Happy New Year.
Same to you.
I was calling based on the situation where Cancray School is.
Yeah.
And the reason why I could say that is because my supervisor and I, the late Leonard Lawrence and I, who did the surveying there, and he used to always tell them, put a retaining thick wall at least about 15 to 20 feet wide.
Yeah.
Just like how you have that wall there for Catholic School made out of bricks, stone, and concrete. You see how strong the wall look?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And you see, whenever agency doesn't have a land surveyor, they're going to do what they want with bilateral agreements. Because that's the same process that MAP was trying to run on us, on the Tennessee and Bourne Field. It's a shame. You cannot do civil engineering if you does not have a land surveyor and a draftsman.
Yeah.
A draftsman deal mostly with civil engineer than an architect.
Yeah.
And those are things I learned working in engineering. If I'd went in there thinking I know I would have never learned anything.
Yeah.
You see? And the thing, I work in engineering 38 years, 9 months, 14 days. And the thing of it, I work on all multi-million-dollar projects. And that's the blessing that God gave me. So what I'm saying to say, this is the problem why we have schools in such a situation, because they are not using land survey. You remember when they had Floyd George at Public Works, Louis Harrigan,
Yeah. Yeah.
Hugh for property and procurement,
Yes.
okay? You had Leonard Lawrence for the Port Authority. You don't see land surveyors no more like you used to. And this is where the problem is, okay? Having container port there, it changed the environment of down there by Gottlieb Dam. Because I remember when all there was water.
Yeah.
When I stayed by my nanny Gottlieb and Dam, when my grandmother went to the States in 1952. I had to stay there for 2 years. All there was number water. Okay? And the thing of it is that it's an insult to those who went to school and have children today, and they can't see why their children couldn't go to that same school.
Yeah.
Okay? And the thing of it is that we cannot afford to keep throwing our inheritance around.
Yeah.
Just like the lady spoke about the graveyard.
Yeah.
In the States, that they use a metal plate with a person picture for their graves. And that's what needs to be implemented down there. So when they need to find that person's grave, they'll be able to find it.
Yeah.
So, Fonzie, thank you very much for the time.
Yeah. Thank you for
And
calling.
may God bless you. May God bless you with all your endeavors.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. You have a wonderful day. Yeah, people have their own, people are concerned about certain things, and I could imagine how frustrating it becomes when specific issues are not being addressed, and people just feel that there's no hope, there's no promise. And I know that you have a number of people that revisit the Virgin Islands. And when I say revisit the Virgin Islands, gone for a few years and come back home, want to see their family. And in this case, with this lady that wants to see or visit her parents' gravesite and can't find it. But they're also seeing that the aesthetics of the Virgin Islands have significantly changed. And it's almost like we have regressed. And while we're talking about that, about regression, there is a significant void that continues to be prolonged. And that void is, do you guys realize the number of blue tops on people's rooftops around this place? I drove through Old Tutu. I drove through New Tutu. I went Nara, I went Hidden Valley, I went Smith Bay, and I can't believe that there's so many blue tops on rooftops. A wave of blue tops still out there. And the question that you have to ask is, if the government of the Virgin Islands received several tranches, what is going on in terms of assembling contractors? Because I remember months ago or over a year ago, we spoke about this Envision Tomorrow program, which, because I highlighted that I didn't like the term Envision Tomorrow, because every time today come, they're going to say it's going to happen tomorrow. So that in itself had a negative connotation. Because if I come to you and you tell me that your program is tomorrow, Envision Tomorrow, and I want my issue addressed today, your program is going to continue to say tomorrow. So a lot of people started getting frustrated with it because applications were submitted, and there's still people living under blue tops. And do you guys realize that here it is now, we're in January, hurricane season starts again in June. Is there going to be any significant progress on a program that truly reaches those residents, those property owners that continue to still live in total disrepair, structures that are completely compromised, and having to go into a hurricane season again under the same condition? That is neither sensible or sensitive. Good morning, you're on the air. Connect the dots.
Yeah, morning, Fonzie.
Go ahead.
What's good? Before the new year.
Yeah, same to you, bro. Same to you.
I know you're doing a great job in the air, my brother. Don't stop.
I won't.
Okay, don't stop.
I
But
won't.
tell them exactly we had a racetrack and they mash it up. And now we have to be racing in the public street. And that's not good.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not good. And again, they need to put back Conquine School where it's supposed to be, because it's been there for many years. You understand?
Yeah.
So tell them stop playing games. You're doing a good job, Fonzie. Don't worry about nothing. Because we coming in strong and we gonna run it red. For the new year, you run things, Fonzie. You're my dog to the ground. I hope all are listening, Fonzie, coming in number one. Listen to me. Because we coming in strong. Fonzie doing what he have to do, and Fonzie can be Fonzie. Everybody have problem, everybody make mistake. Leave Fonzie alone. That's my dog. Alright? Say no more. Have a good day, Fonzie. Run the show.
All right, you take care, and thanks for the encouragement. Yeah. We have so much issues here in the Virgin Islands, and you can only hope when we talk about the quality of life. And those folks who are able to visit the Virgin Islands, and they're able to make a comparison of what the Virgin Islands looked like prior to Irma and Maria, even going back a number of years, that we had all these facilities in place. We have an opportunity, we still have that opportunity to rebuild bigger and better. And when I say bigger and better, meaning that, of course, if you have infrastructures or structures that have been built for over 20, 30 years, at some point those structures, there's going to be erosion, there's going to be wear and tear on those respective facilities, and we need to capitalize on the opportunity, the unlimited resources that we have to really enhance our infrastructure for Virgin Islanders. What I see in plain view, it doesn't seem that there's a level of sensitivity and sensibility towards the people of the Virgin Islands. And when folks come to visit and they see how the Virgin Islands appear to have regressed gone backwards. It hurts. And many of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because as you move around here, especially those of you who still reside in the Virgin Islands, you want to see significant improvements. We all do. But sometimes, when there's a paradigm that exists, unless you try to buck or disrupt that paradigm and change the paradigm to something more consistent, the more you think things are changing is the more they remain the same. So we can only hope that Virgin Islanders' eyes are wide open and they're seeing exactly what's taking place here. Good morning, you're on the air, Connect the Dots.
Yes, good morning, good morning. Let me tell you about Envision Tomorrow. I am so sick of them. They actually came and sat at our table in 2018 and said what all they were going to do and everything. A lot of people that I know, especially the elders, who applied for the program prior to Ben Carson giving them the money, they were eligible. As soon as they got that money, guess what, funds? All of a sudden, they weren't eligible because they were considered third-party generation. They didn't have this document. They couldn't prove this. They couldn't prove that. Envision Tomorrow. If you go over to Cruz Bay, you'll see, in St. John, you will see some of the work that they're doing. But they're not doing it for people of color. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Well, let me say thank you to the caller for calling. And good morning, you're on the air, Connect the Dots. Good morning, you're on the air, Connect the Dots. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, hello. Can you hear us?
Yes, good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm blessed. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. I was just wondering about the status. I think that the administration announced that they were going to be giving the people all of their tax refunds by the end of the year, if I am not mistaken. If I'm mistaken, please correct me on that.
Well, I don't know what they have distributed. I have a grave concern because I was the one that wrote the law to set aside 10% of what was collected in taxes. And in addition to that, there was a timeline for income tax refunds to be paid with the anticipation that there was a time when persons filed their taxes, and for those in particular that are entitled to a refund, that they were able to get their refund in about 2 to 3 weeks. Now, granted, now we understand that the population has significantly grown. But I still believe that if you have money there for continuity, you can bring everybody up to date and start paying those persons who file on time before April 15 deadline, and that they're able to get their refunds in anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks. And even that is a lot.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm trying to wrap around my brain is why it is that they are not enforcing this law.
Well, that matter is before the courts. It was filed in a court by myself, and it was filed in a court by another group of individuals. And still nothing, Senator Daniels. So still nothing. The courts and it makes one wonder what is going on. Yeah. We need to open our eyes and see that there is something much deeper going on than meets the eye. Yeah. In our territory. Yeah. You understand? And if we fail to see that, then we have a major problem. Yeah. Because right now, the people that have filed taxes, that they have years of taxes and they're still held up. Okay, they claim they were up to a certain year, and the people should have gotten all of those by 2019.
I haven't gotten my 2019 yet.
Wow.
Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm waiting up for over, maybe over a year.
And I've heard a number of people say the same thing.
And it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's as though okay, everybody is getting all their money all higher up, but we don't here ain't getting our what we've already earned.
Yeah.
What we've already worked for. It's not fair.
And you know,
especially in these times when so many people are unemployed.
And the saddest part of it, and this is why you have folks that are filing their returns in the States. Pennsylvania and different places, they're filing their returns. And the reason go ahead.
And that's against, the claiming here locally that's against the law. Well, if it's against the law, then you do something, because if people have family members that live up there and they live up there part of the year, they have to meet a legal right to file the taxes up there if they choose, if they happen to be there, or if they're even there for medical attention. In order to get it in on time, they can file it up there.
Yeah.
What I am saying is that I don't understand what it is about the law that they believe that they're above.
Yeah.
Nobody is above the law. Nobody. I don't care who it is. But it's only the people, the lower people, the minorities that are suffering the consequences of this. And I'm talking about minorities in terms of salaries now. So that's not the word to use. That's the word I choose to use. You understand? The ones with the lower salaries are the ones that are suffering the most.
Yeah.
And everybody is getting fatter and fatter and richer, and people down here suffering.
Yeah.
How do they not see people are suffering? Anyway, so that's it. And about the Envision program, I understand that they had to hire a new contractual management team, and that's why the process was held up. That is my understanding. I don't know how factual that is, but that is my understanding.
Yeah.
So that team should be in place hopefully soon. That's what they said last year, within the last 3 months of the year. And so we'll see what happens, But Senator Donnerstock, I have to say to you that I am very, 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 very proud of you for standing up against the naysayers, against all of these adversaries that present themselves when it comes to doing things uprightly in our territory, in our society. Do not compromise, Senator Donnerstock. Stay who you are. You understand? The corruptors will see their day of judgment. You stay the person that you are, the person that God created you to be a leader of this territory. And may God continue to bless you and prosper your life, in spite of what they're trying to do to you and what they have done to you. May God bless you and you have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Ah, boy, they're giving me a full one today, boy. We're almost to the end of the hour, but I can take 2 more calls. Good morning, you're on the air. Connect the dots.
Good morning, Fonzie.
Good morning.
Wish your health was healthy. New year, healthy New Year. One of my biggest concerns as a former teacher is the school, and especially Cancline.
Yeah.
I agree with the last caller. Cancline should be safe, be built. Cancline right now sit on 14 acres, That's including the field where Tropical or those shipping companies using right now.
Yeah.
I can't see where they can use 7.5 of that 7 to establish a campground to restore campground there. Maybe a 2-story, instead of being spread out, they could be compact, and still occupy this 7 other acres, which is 14, sitting on. And just like the Banco Popular is in a flood zone, but you see they elevated enough so that it won't get flood. They will do the same for the school. That's the excuse that they're using, that is sitting in a flood zone.
Yeah.
And I remember walking there, putting some drain in there, so that we won't get flooded. Remember, we used to get flooded, we used to have to take a boat to go from class to class. But with the reason, heavy rain, I think it doesn't flood as much as it used to. So it can be elevated and restore. And I think we need to restore all those community schools like EBU
out there in Tutu.
Yeah.
Abraham School down there, current West. Those are concrete structures. You can see what the deficiency is, renovate them and have those schools in the community that eliminate busing. Busing students all over the place, you know.
Yeah.
Which busing is a problem down there. And I agree with the infrastructure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I fully agree with what you're saying. And just to add a dimension to what you're talking about, do you realize that all those schools, Adelita Cancrin, E. Benjamin Oliver School, are named after educators, and by allowing the school to be closed, to just sit there to languish in total disrepair, it's like killing people.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, every time I see that, that makes me angry to see it just in the school, deteriorating, and the jungle lost, growing up in the schoolyard. That's really, and then the other thing, once we got to let them know they cannot put economic or business, certain special interest, business interest over that of the education of our school.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on, especially with crack crime, especially crack crime. I've been hearing him for years trying to prioritize the economy or business over our education. Or I passed through crack crime too, I graduated from crack crime, I went back there and teach crack crime.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think we need to those three big schools, and others too, but those three big schools we need to save for our children, or otherwise they're robbing our youngsters of education, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, have a helpful new year.
Yeah, man. Same to you, and thanks for calling. Thanks for calling.
Yeah.
Yeah, folks. People have their different perspective, but it always comes full circle in a discussion that we all share something in common. We want to see good. We want to see significant change. We want to see that there's an upliftment, because if there's an upliftment, it breeds hope for Virgin Islanders. So I know a couple of people chimed in and said that they wish my program was an additional hour because of the type of discussions we have here on this radio program. But unfortunately, I only have an hour, but I'll see if there's a possibility to have maybe 2 hours, maybe in the near future. But I'm out of time. It's now 11:02 a.m. in the morning here in the U.S. Virgin Islands, January 3rd. You have been listening to Connect the Dots with your host, Adela Fonsi Donnerstorg. And I'm sorry that I have to depart at this time. But I just wanted to wish each and every one of you, I hope that the new year brings you all the promise and prosperity that you have been hoping for, that you prayed for, and that each and every one of you have a blessed day and a productive. Okay, Rapsir could take one more call. Good morning.
I didn't get to talk to him. Why?
Huh?
Why you didn't let me to talk to him?
To who?
Now he gone. To Fancy?
I hear. I talking.
Oh, you. I thought that was Robbie that left me.
No.
Feliz año. Because I heard you saying goodbye, I say like Robbie let me hang in. But that's good. Feliz año nuevo. Happy New Year.
El mismo de tú y tu familia.
De la Isla Virgen, ellos familia son todos. Nosotros somos hijos todos de Dios.
Sí.
We need to be, united instead of individual, collective.
Yeah.
To move this, this is the year. We got to pray to God and kick butts. Di que pídele a Dios que te dé fuerza, a ti tú puedas pelear. So it's nice talking with you. This is a new year. I'm still gonna come after you again with that comedy and that stuff, a proposal. We need to educate, and being Papi Show is it's the best way that we could do it.
Okay.
And
Well,
y tú sabes, and then being Latino, Hispano, Afro-Hispano, todito aquí estamos locos. We don't be respecting. And we need to sit and start having those conversations. I hear about all of this education for the Constitution. I'm like, where? I hear education about our mental health and education about this, and you don't see what's happening, at least not in our neighborhoods. Like that lady talk about the Envision program. Yeah, Envision us all Negroes out of here. Envision, we better stand up. I know a lot of people from before the Envision program. You know another thing where the way they go by the Social Security, by the three first numbers of the Social Security.
Yeah.
They pick through that, and then you find out that dependent is just like the segregation, that certain zip code, certain things. So a lot of the people, out of the people that are not from this territory, they get their check and they get more, taken care of faster through the Social Security stuff, and that's not fair. Anyway, but I'll be getting in touch. I know, you got to live for your purpose. So a mí me han jodido ya todo aquí. So I got to make sure that I get out there. We global. We're not just the Virgin Islands. Yeah. So pa'lante, toda la familia está bien.
Sí, sí.
Sí, con Dios y la fuerza de nuestros espíritus para kick ass. Eso es lo que ya. Si me voy a morir, me quiero morir en la tarima, ayudando.
Yeah, that's the spirit to have. That's the spirit.
So, hay que seguir caminando, y tú sabes que yo soy una mujer guerrillera, así que a mí me han dado galleta y patá y todo, pero si se lo hicieron a Dios, I guess I got spoken enough Spanish for you now, huh?
Well, no, you're teaching the public Spanish, but you're forcing them to try to understand what you're saying. But the majority of the audience is English speaking.
Yeah, but we know we need to. I mean, I don't know why some people find it so bad. I mean, French, Spanish, and stuff. And we need to have dialect where we sit in groups just to understand our our vocabulary, our expression. It's like you take it this way when you feel like it. You take it, and then when you stand up for the masses of the people, we got people from the same masses beating you down.
Yeah.
But I tell them we need to discuss the post-traumatic slave syndrome. We got that self-hate and that hater. We need to talk about it. Yeah. We need to have a conversation. Every time I hear pastors and rabbi and everybody talking about Martin Luther King, I want to give them a cuff.
You're driving me past the time. And
I know, that's okay.
I don't want them to say I have to pay.
Okay, tell him to write it off.
So, all right.
Let's ask the governor. He got money to give the station so we could get informed and educated. Que Dios lo bendiga. You too there. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Robbie. Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, I apologize again, but that's how it is. Sometimes we have enthusiastic callers, like the one that just called. And on a closing note, and I know we mentioned, and we spoke briefly about the Envision program again tomorrow. It's my understanding that there's a management group out of Alabama now that somehow they brought into the Virgin Islands to handle the Envision program. That's interesting. Let's hope that they understand the culture. Let's hope that everything is on a fast track and don't just embark on something on its face to give a certain appearance during a certain season. But anyway, I just want to say to each and every one of you to have a productive week. And God bless each and every one of you. This has been Adler Fonsi Donistor of Connect the Dots, here with you every Monday from 10 to 11 a.m. See you next Monday. Have a wonderful day.
WSTA. The day. From the water to the pot to your mouth, everything is fresh at Catch of the Day, located on Cookie Point Beach. Enjoy some of your favorite seafood dishes, fresh catch, lobster, tongue, and whelks, when in season, as well as surf and turf. They cater to your wishes. While you sit and wait for your food, enjoy the friendly bar and bask in the ambience that is second to none. Enjoy the white sand, sun, and crystal blue water. We are sure the experience will be unique. Monday through Sunday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Come and enjoy Catch of the Day on Cookie Point Beach.
when the clock hits 13. You've been working, but you're flirting with the weekend. You can freak out. 1 in a million. You're a gem shine when the light grows dim. Sing 1, 2, 3, 4. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. We got the right stuff. We put the hammer right down. Wanna be like us? You better stick around. If you want it, you gotta prove it. Like we do it, like we do it.
It's First Stop 24-hour gas and grocery store. Your number one convenience store, located across from Vitraco Park. You name it, and they have it. From electronic accessories to your favorite drinks. And from gas to groceries. You name it, and they have it. First Stop 24-hour gas and grocery, located across from Vitraco Park. Check it out. Your favorite store for gas and grocery.